Hey everyone, I hope you had a fantastic Christmas. Hope your break is going well. New Year's is just a few days away, so hope everybody's staying safe, doing well, all of that good stuff. In the video about 3 or 4 days ago, we did Raid Hardpoint Revealed, and in that one, there were a lot of comments saying that people would like a video like that for every map. I know when we watch scrims, we get to do little pieces and parts as teams are on rotations and trying to figure out where people are going, but that's really only one part of the map. So in our Revealed series, we get to take a peek at the entirety of the strategy for different hard points, and eventually we'll do the controls and we'll do every map. And even when we do get into actual tournament play and we get to watch Search and Destroy, I'm going to break down Search and Destroy strategy also. But for today, we're going to be taking a look at Moscow Hardpoint. So from the very get-go, this is one of my favorite maps. I think it plays very much so like a classic Call of Duty map in that it has the 3 lanes, right? You have the middle lane, the bottom lane, the top lane. You have a route through the middle to get between each of those lanes, and then obviously you have the ends or the sides. So I think this map plays very much so like a classic Call of Duty map. I would make a change in the hardpoint rotations. I don't mind where P4 is. I would change it a little bit, but if you want P1 in the middle, that's great. P2's top right, P3's top left. I just think from here, the best maps in Call of Duty would have like P4 over here to the right. So you're like ping-ponging across the map. And then that would put like P5 over here in the bank or something. So that way, if you had this, you're covering all 4 corners of the map. So the way that they have it right now, this just feels a little bit out of place to me. And it doesn't feel necessarily the most fair, because on rotation to P3, if you have this spawn, you have spawns for P3 and you have spawns for P4. The only thing that counts against that is that inside of P4, you can actually hold P4 from the right-hand side, and we'll get to all of that. But to get started here, let's go ahead. Let's say you have one team that spawns over on the left-hand side of the map at the beginning of the map. You have one team that spawns over here on the right-hand side of the map. So as you're looking at this, you can tell that inside of P1, this is a classic P1 hardpoint in that it's right in the middle of the map. It's normally pretty contested. The team that gets, if you're able to get 10, 15, 20 points inside of P1, that's great. But off the rip, what you really want to be playing for is positioning for inside of P2, which is on the top right. So if you're this yellow team, that's the beneficial spawn. So the way that you play P1 from here is you want to send your SMGs, obviously, inside of P1, try to fight for that time, or at least contest the best you can. Now, you do have to watch the push through the top side of the map, but the most important thing is sending your main AR down here towards the bottom side of the map and watching the push through this bottom lane through P4. If you're the blue team and you're trying to flip, that's the way you want to go. Now, what I'll also say is that there is this top lane up here, but you don't really have to assign somebody to that lane, because off the rip, when you're about to rotate to P2, you can take either your flex or your main AR, you can put them up in this top window, and now you can watch the push through mid if you don't have control of P1, and you can watch the push through this lobby up here from that same location, right? That guy can do both jobs. So you don't really have to take one person and put them up in that top lane, just because you can watch that from that back building. Now, the counter of this, that would be the setup if you're the yellow team. The counter to this is that if you're the blue team, you're obviously going to send your SMGs in towards P1. If you want to send somebody through gold and go out your window, try to get kills from that CDOM building as yellow might be jumping through, that's okay also. But like we talked about, if you're trying to rotate towards P2, if you send somebody from the top lane, this is not going to be very beneficial. So you send somebody up towards top Eskies, you go through lobby, you get inside of P2, this isn't the best push, because even if you're able to get initial control of P2, first of all, if there's a yellow team still in the back over there, they're just going to continue to spawn over here. If you push out a little bit further, again, all that's going to do is just take the yellow team and push them a little bit further down this bottom road. So they still have a really easy route to get back to this back building and then eventually get back inside of that P2 hardpoint. So even if you push out the top and you get control of the hardpoint, it's not going to help you all that much because the yellow team is still going to be spawning there. So the flip side of this is the main way that you want to do this is push through P4, push through Globe or this courtyard area of the map, and try to get behind. Now, this is a really critical choke point right here, because if yellow has somebody up inside this top window, that's a pretty easy kill for a flex or a main AR. So that's a difficult area to get through. But if you're able to work your way through that, and you can find a way to jump up in this window and get kills back here and settle into this building, then it's more than likely you're going to overtake this spawn. And if you get this spawn, that's going to take the yellow team and then spawn them out over here towards top Eskies. And if you're inside of P2, it might push them out a little bit further over towards P3. So if you're the team that spawns out, you really want to push through that bottom area of the map. That's the easiest way to get through and get inside of P2. So let's move on from the transition from P2 to P3. Let's say you're the blue team, you had control of P2, you flipped it out, now you're getting this back spawn. Now, this is one where you want to rotate pretty early. So if you're the yellow squad, now you're getting this back spawn, right? You got pushed out, you have this back spawn, you're inside of P3. You obviously want your SMG, at least one SMG, and probably a main AR on one of these headies somewhere in this area so that you can watch this choke point right here. So you want to take two people, one person inside of P3, kind of just hiding, helping out if your main AR goes down, and the other main AR is just watching the push here. You want to have an SMG somewhere in one of these two locations watching the push through mid. You have to be able to see one to be able to get that kill on the push through mid, but you also have to be able to see if somebody from that blue squad sneaks through and hits this route right here. So you have to be watching that. You have to be able to communicate that. And then your main AR or your flex, somebody else with an assault rifle. So you have two people inside of P3 or around P3 watching this choke. You have one SMG watching the push through mid. And then you have your last AR somewhere in one of these locations over here watching the push through bank or the long play over here. Okay, so that's really the setup. 2 in P3, 1 watching elbow, 1 watching back bank. Now, from there, that's the setup. Now, this is why I said at the beginning here, if you're the blue team, you want to try to leave as soon as you can. So if you have control of P2, we're talking like 30 seconds left inside of P2. So say you're getting this back spawn, or you're this main AR or a flex that's setting up in this window, probably want to keep them there. But the other person, you're really playing a long route flank here. So you want to go back over here towards P4, and once you get here, you really want to try to sneak into this bank area, and if you can get through, you don't necessarily have to push library yet. This is known as library up here, so you don't have to push in towards library yet, but the further up here you can make it, the better chance you have of flipping this spawn. So if you want to sneak through bank and just kind of hide, there's a nice pillar here that you can hide behind, or over here to the left. So I know that the map is cut off, but there's kind of an outlet over there that you could also hide behind. Somewhere in this back corner of the map you're trying to get to, because if your teammates catch up with you, now you're going to overtake this spawn, and it's going to take the yellow team and it's going to spawn them out over towards top Eskies, and now they have to try to get through this critical choke point. So if you're the blue team, you want to try to leave early so that you can push out this spawn and force the yellow team out. Now, if that's not successful, you don't really have a choice, right? If you leave P2, you want to send your AR on a long flank. You want to try to push through P1 through gold. And we talked about this choke point, watching this choke point. If you can get somebody through here into this area, now you have multiple people, both an AR, an SMG, or a flex, but you have multiple people to fight off any main AR that might be watching this back flank. If you're coming through mid, you could also hit gold, and this is a really short choke point right here. You could just sprint and slide through, and you could also get to here. So if you're blue, from the rip here, you're really playing that bottom rotation and trying to push out that back spawn. And then if you're not successful, if those people die, you're going to spawn top Eskies, in which case you're just trying to hit this choke point and get into elbow, trying to fight these people off, and really you're just trying to contest at that point. So on rotation from P2 to P3, if you're yellow, you really want to watch the initial push through the bottom side of the map, and if you're blue, you want to try to get through those critical choke points and get back behind to back library so that you can flip out spawns. And then we'll say blue was able to overtake these spawns, and yellow was spawning out towards Eskies, and we're rotating over towards P4. Okay. Last but not least, if you're the blue squad, then again, this is one of those hard points that really can be held from either direction. So first of all, you want to try to get, let me switch to blue. You want to try to get somebody inside of the P4 hardpoint, and there are a few head glitches that you can set up on inside of here. So it's really not that terrible to sit inside of P4, but it's also beneficial to send somebody into this top gold room right here and watch this jump up window, because eventually as this P4 pops, yellow's not going to spawn up here. They're going to change the spawn, and they're going to spawn out over here towards courtyard, okay? So if you're yellow, the way that you can flip this out is obviously you can just hit front P4, try to get in, get those kills and contest, or you can try to hit this jump up window and then go through gold, go into office, and go to this office jump up right here. And if you can get in this window, a lot of times you can shoot these people in the back. You can also take the long play here and try to go through this lobby area and get through this choke point. The problem is that as you get into this area right here, if there's somebody from blue like inside a bus, which there normally is, like a main AR or a flex, this is a really easy kill for them to get in that long area you have to run through. So now, I will say, let's go ahead, let's get rid of all this. If you're the yellow team that was spawning out and you push forward and you get control of P4, now you can gain map positioning and you can push up towards bus, or you can hide in this corner because the door is here. And you could even, so first of all, you can get kills in that choke point very easily. You can even push into bank, and the further you push into bank, the farther that takes this blue spawn, and it continues to spawn them out. So it's harder to get over towards P4. But it's important, if you have control of P4, to push forward a little bit further. And once you get map control, now it requires an extra set of team kills for the blue team to work their way over towards P4. And then from there, if you're yellow, you can again send somebody into gold. You can watch this push here. You can watch this push here. But really, all you're trying to do, if you're gold or if you're the yellow team, is get inside of P4, get control of the hill. Once you have control of the hill, then you push forward into these choke points. And once you start to get in these areas of the map right here, it's really pretty easy to protect P4. So the better way to hold P4 is from the left, right? If you're the blue team that we talked about initially, but it can be held from either side of the map. Then eventually, finally, as you're on rotation here, say we're talking blue had control of P4. When P1 pops, now you just want to go back to that initial route that we talked about, trying to push out this bottom side of the map, get behind, so that as you rotate from P1 to P2, you have these back spawns by this back building for P2, and then it starts all over again. So in this video, we really talked about all of the different ways that you can go from one hard point to the next on Moscow and really try to gain a victory on that map. So if you're new around here, you enjoy these revealed videos, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, leave a like, as it really helps out the channel. And with that, guys, thank you so much. We will see you in tomorrow's upload.